Hello everyone, so let's talk about Ballerina, or the creators of this movie would like to call it from the world of John Wick, Ballerina. Yeah, I'm not gonna say the long name, I'm just gonna call it Ballerina. This movie is spin-off to the John Wick franchise, and if you haven't watched John Wick, you should, because it's one of the best action franchises out there. I'm a big fan, and this movie being part of that world, I was very excited. In this movie, you get new protagonist Eve, played by Ana de Armas. Sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. And when she was a child, she watches her father get killed by a group of assassins. Now she wants to grow up and get revenge. A pretty straightforward revenge story, which is pretty common for action movies. Even the first John Wick movie was also a revenge story, and it depends on how you execute it. So I'll get to that later. This movie already feels very different from the previous John Wick movies in the sense that those movies you already had an established assassin, but here you get to see Eve grow, train, and become that assassin, which is really cool to see. She even joins an organization who teaches her ballet, and that's a part of becoming an assassin, which this movie built on an already established world of John Wick, which I always appreciate. A new lore in a John Wick franchise is something I always love to see. You get to see new surroundings, you get to see new climatic conditions, which you did not see in the previous movies. And talking about things you see, cinematography in this movie was excellent. Some of the shots were brilliant. Now let's talk about Ana de Armas, because she had a lot riding on her shoulders. She was following in the footsteps of Keanu Reeves, who played John Wick perfectly. So she had a lot to do, and I think she handled it pretty well. She was excellent. Her expressions, her in action sequences, she was really good, and I want to see her more in this franchise. Now, let's talk about action, because that's what you want to see in this movie. And I'm really happy to say the action sequences in this movie were very entertaining. It I'm really surprised that they can still manage to have different types of action sequences in each of their movies in this franchise. It's really commendable. And even in this movie, you get to see different action scenes in this time in the form of grenades, flamethrowers, which were really cool. You get extended action scenes as in this movie as well, which some of you might get bored by, but I really enjoyed it. Some of the scenes were intense. It was bloody, and so it was very different from what John Wick used to do, because John Wick was like headshots after headshots, and here it takes time for her to get those headshots, which is really cool to see. That small details, I really enjoyed that. So yeah, um, for the negatives, I don't think there is that many, because this isn't a grand scale movie like the John Wick movie went out to be in the later chapters. So it was a small scale movie in itself, which I liked, and this was a really fast paced movie as well. There was Keanu Reeves in this movie as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. His role was limited in this movie, which I appreciated. There was one part which he arrives, but I don't know how the timeline works, because this movie is said to be set between third and the fourth chapter. But I don't know how it works, which is confusing. And this movie treats you as if you have already watched the previous movies. So if you haven't watched those movies, you might not know what is happening, like how the world is working here. So yeah, that is a downside to if you haven't watched the other movies. I enjoyed this movie a lot. It was a great fun action movie. I'm gonna give this movie an A minus. If you love action movies, if you love John Wick, do watch this movie. I'm sure you'll have fun, and I want to see more of this franchise. So that's it for the review. Hope you have a great time. Bye.